Yeah, Shalom. Before I start the video, I want to give all praise and glory to, our power, our strength, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man, the God of Israel, Yahweh, and in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, and to the 12 tribes of Israel, the remnant that are scattered abroad in all four corners of the earth, I greet you. Right. So yeah, man, I just came across this article right here, because on the browser that I use, there is a tab, or there is pretty much it's like a tab where you can look for latest news, and things of that nature. For example, this can be one of the tabs right here, where it'll give me the news and whatnot. Right, and this article, it was around, let me refresh this. Okay, I'm waiting for it to refresh. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with my network, but yeah, my internet connection has been crazy. So I think I'm just gonna pause this video and wait for it to work again. I'm just gonna pause the recording. Yeah, so it works again. I'm gonna refresh this page. Right, so pretty much, it's an article from News 24. Right, it's a recent article about 12 hours ago, which it was roughly around 7 a.m. today. Right, so as you can see, the title of this article, it says researchers find huge discrepancy, right, in quotes, between reported number of COVID-19 fatalities and excess deaths. Right. Yeah. So when you go here, it says, so pretty much what is here, it's like some sort of a summary and whatnot, or some conclusion maybe. It says an estimated 17,090 more natural deaths than expected between 6 May and 14 July has raised concerns about the accuracy of reported COVID-19 deaths. Right. The second point says excess mortality is a measure used internationally to decipher actual deaths during large-scale epidemics. Okay. Another one says it remains unclear why so many South Africans are dying if it is not related to COVID-19. And this is a study that was made by SAMRC, which is South African Medical Research Council. It's interesting when they have the word council there, but anyway, it says South Africans are dying at a much higher rate than expected as COVID-19 continues to spread at a significant pace in at least 3 provinces. Right, those 3 provinces, it's Gauteng, it's Northern Cape and Eastern Cape. Right. So those are the provinces that have reported a lot of COVID-19 cases. It says excess deaths between 6 May and 14 July topped 17,000. According to the latest research by the South African Medical Research Council, SAMRC, and University of Cape Town Centre of Actual Research, says in the past week the numbers have shown a relentless increase. By the second week of July, there were 59% more deaths from natural causes than would have been expected based on historical data. Right, so basically what they're saying is they're saying that week they had they expected a certain number of natural deaths, right? But what they found out to be, an increase of 59% to what they expected, right? It also means that the reported deaths have shown a pattern that is completely different than those indicated by historical trends. It says Professor Debbie Bradshaw, a co-author of the report, said timing and geographic patterns leave no room to question whether it's associated with COVID-19 epidemic. So basically what this is suggesting, it's low-key suggesting that those excess deaths are actually linked to COVID-19. That's pretty much what these people are trying to say. Why? Because the provinces where there are more deaths is actually the provinces where there are high COVID-19 cases. Okay. So that's why it's saying here the time and geographic pattern leaves no room to question whether it's associated with the COVID-19 epidemic. However, the weekly death report have revealed a huge discrepancy between the country's confirmed COVID-19 deaths and the number of excess natural deaths, she added. So here's the thing, because when you go read on here, it says as of 21st July, the number of confirmed cases of confirmed COVID-19 deaths was 5,368. Alright, so latestly, at this point, when you look at the number of COVID cases, right, now I'm talking recent, like today, it says the deaths are almost 6,000. So from that time up until now, there has been, the deaths for COVID-19 that are recorded have not reached 6,000 yet. Right, but from the time when they did that research up until today, right, there is that discrepancy, which is what they are talking about here. Right, this is the takeaway. But anyway, man, let's look at this word discrepancy first. Right, it says an illogical or surprising lack of compatibility or similarity between two or more factors. Right. When you look at the synonyms for discrepancy, it's inconsistency, difference, disparity, variance or variation, right? Opposition or conflict. Right, but anyway, you'll get to see what exactly is being mentioned here. There is also graphs. But anyway, it says the takeaway from the latest report for excess mortality up to 14th July. Right, so I guess on 14th July they had excess of 17,000 deaths. Right, and the country confirmed 5,368 deaths. Right, so meaning there's roughly about 12,000. Right, which is unaccounted for. Pretty much that's what it's saying. But anyway, it says between 6 May and 14 July, the excess deaths from natural causes were 17,000 for persons 1 year and older. For people between the ages of 1 and 59, the excess number of deaths is 5,000 and 11,000 for people 60 and older. It says the Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal are experiencing excess and natural deaths. Remember, these are the provinces where COVID-19 cases are huge in numbers. I'm trying to see if I can find it here. Yeah, as you can see, like these four provinces, Gauteng, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and KZN. That's where like the large number of COVID-19 cases are. And also they are saying it's in these provinces that there's a lot of excess deaths, right? these are the hardest hit provinces in terms of confirmed COVID-19 deaths and cases. Right? But when you go down here, this is the graph that they had. You see, they say RSA weekly deaths from natural causes. So for people that are a year and older, right? So if you look at their forecast and their weekly deaths, right? So they were pretty much almost similar up until end of May. It seemed like actually up until the end of June. That's when the discrepancy started occurring pretty much. Right. So what this thing is suggesting is that through this research that they did, they are suggesting COVID-19 is actually killing more people than what has been officially put by the government as account for COVID-19 deaths. Because the count to be around 5,000, but the research say no, it should be around 12,000 or more. Right, and it is interesting, man, because when you look at the CEO of this SMRC, it looks like a so-called Edomite woman, right, which is a white woman. Right, this Glenda Gray person, right, and interestingly, I just found this now when I put in this SMRC CEO. Right, so it seems like this SMRC is actually, in league with COVID-19 vaccination. Right, so it seems like it is some kind of an organization that supports, vaccination. Right, and ultimately, the elites, they're trying to push this vaccination, right, as a means to, population control, New World Order type of things, man. So it is in their interest to, to make COVID-19 seem like it is a threat, right? Because it's COVID-19, man, is pretty much a tool that these people will use to bring forth their agenda, right? Because when you look at those 5,000 deaths that were put forth by the government, they are small compared to the excess natural deaths that that SMRC put forth. Right. So it seems like these people, man, they're trying to do everything in their power, right, to bring vaccinations. Right, and SMRC is one of those organizations that is being used, to push this agenda. Right. As you can see it here, man, in their Twitter page, South African Oxfam COVID-19 vaccine Vida trial. We know ultimately that's what they want to bring. They want to bring this new world order, and they're going to do everything in their power, right, to change the narrative, to change the statistics if they need to. Because it's these statistics that actually bring that actually scare people, into giving up their power and their freedom. Because the people are scared of death, they're scared of this COVID-19. Alright. But anyway, this is one case for South Africa. But if you go into SMRC website, yeah, this also are the same articles that speak on COVID-19 deaths. Right. So we know the national toll is at almost 6,000, as we saw on the other slide. Right, but SMRC is pretty much saying the cases should be almost 12,000 or 17,000. So when you go to SMRC website, it says weekly deaths suggest higher number of deaths of COVID-19, higher number of COVID-19 deaths. This is the organization that did the study. So that study, they did it, to pretty much push this thing, man, that COVID-19 is actually killing more people than what the government is reporting. And we know that organization is owned by Edomites. So let's see what this excess deaths thing is about. It says, if you look here, it says why track excess deaths, right? It says tracking weekly excess death is not a new phenomenon. Several countries in the developed world have been reporting these trends. And what are these developed world? We know United States is a developed world, right? And we know countries like Russia, pretty much first world countries are developed world. So they also use this excess death thing. Alright. So reading on, it says, in the developed world, they have been reporting these trends, particularly to assess the impact of influenza. With the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, more countries have started doing this. Such analyses have generally demonstrated that during the pandemic, countries experience excess number of deaths over and above confirmed COVID-19 deaths. Right? So here is an example of UK. It says in the UK, for example, it was realized that the confirmed COVID-19 death reflected only the COVID-19 deaths that occurred in the health services, and that deaths occurred in long-term care institutions and at home were not included. Right? In their COVID-19 statistics, however, given the availability of cause of death data from the death registration process in the UK, they were able to add such deaths to their confirmed COVID-19 statistics. So basically, pretty much, they add these excess deaths to their statistics. Right? Nonetheless, there are still excess deaths over and above these COVID-19 deaths, which are assumed to have been deaths from conditions that might normally have been diagnosed and treated had their hospitals not been overwhelmed. So man, these people, they have an agenda. Let's see this one here. I didn't look at this thing prior to making this video. But as you can see, man, SMRC offering you a chance to be a part of important COVID-19 research. Join a clinical trial to help us research a new vaccine against COVID in adults living with and without HIV in South Africa. This vaccine is called OX1 COVID-19. right? Which OX1 COVID-19 can be a decoded, uh, title. But anyway, I'm gonna see what this thing is about. But anyway, man, let me get a precept. It aren't many precepts that I wrote down. These things are a mischief, man. These statistics that they be doing. Right, let me see. Isaiah 29 and 15. Right. Verse 15 says, "Woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord." Right, but before I get there, actually another precept just came into mind. I'm trying to see if I can remember it. Maybe this is in Habakkuk or something. No, it's not this one. Yeah, here's one. It's actually in Psalms. Psalms what? Sorry about that. Psalm 64 and 6. Right. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer, and preserve my life from the fear of the enemy, which the enemy is so-called white people, the Esau. Right. Hide me from the secret counsel. Right, and which SMRC, it's one of those counsel, right, of the wicked. It says, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, which is Esau, right? It says, who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, are the Israelites. Suddenly they do shoot at him, right? Meaning they persecute you, they put us to death and things of that nature. Right? And says, and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter, right? Which is these vaccinations, this 5D chip, mark of the beast, right? Which COVID-19 is one of the tools that they're gonna use to bring forth, that counsel, right? And them manipulating statistics, it's one of those tools that they are gonna use, right? It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter, right? This new world order they are planning, right? Because they know, man, these devils know that they have but a short time, right? But they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, right? These statistics that they be doing, these so-called, forecast projections and whatnot, right? They say, who shall see them, right? who shall see them? Because we know, like, for the most part, man, the so-called like people and whatever, they are not interested in, checking things like statistics and things of that nature, right? So they say, who shall see them? Right? They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Right? So they have deep thoughts, man, these people. Right, so Isaiah 29 and 15 says, woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord. Right, and woe to them, as you read, is who the workers of iniquity, the so-called Edomites, according to Malachi. Right, I believe, is it chapter 4 and 1? Or was Malachi 1 and 4? Let me find out. Malachi, yeah, in Malachi, right, where it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Right, so these are the workers of iniquity, the so-called white people. Right, let me go back to Isaiah 29 and 15. We know who those people are. Right, it says, woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in dark. They say, who seeth us? Remember, as we read in Psalm 64, who knoweth us? And it says, surely a turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For the work, say of him that made it, he made me not. Or the thing framed by him that framed it, he had no understanding. Right, so these people, they act like, the Lord did not make them, or that the Lord had no understanding. Right, so in essence, as you know, these people, they play gods on this earth. Right, and through doing of those things, they have deceived, the world. But as you know, the elect are not deceived. Right, verse 17, is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. Right? Who are these people? Right? Who are the deaf and who are the blind? Speaking about the elect. Right? We shall hear the words of this book, and we shall see these people, because they ask, who seeth us, who knoweth us? Through the understanding of this book, we see who those people are, and we know who they are. It says, the meek shall also increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. Right? It says, for the terrible one is brought to naught, the terrible one is Esau, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. Alright, so these people, man, they are not gonna prevail. Right, and this is the last scripture here. Remember, it says the deaf and the blind will hear the words of this book, right? When you go to the book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah 49. Hey man, like this guy sending me a lot of text messages. Yeah, anyway, that's my friend right there. Jeremiah 49 and 10. Alright, it says, but I have made Esau bare. How has Esau been made bare? By the book, man, that's read in Isaiah 28. Let's read it in Isaiah 29. Esau have been made bare by the book. Why? Because the deaf and the blind, right, have heard the word of the book, and Esau has been made bare. Right? I have uncovered his secret places. Right? What are his secret places? You know, the secret counsels that they be doing. It says, and he shall not able to hide himself. Right? He shall not able to hide himself. The elect will see him. Okay. It says his seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Meaning there will come a time where this man does not exist. You know, according to the book of Obadiah. You know. So pretty much, man, what these people are painting, they're painting COVID-19, you know, to cause more deaths than what have been reported. And of course, they have an agenda. Okay? So with that, man, I hope you've been edified. Shalom.